Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are going to be discussing the costuming in the new Quentin Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just saw this film last Sunday, I believe it was, and I know I'm a little bit late to the train, but I really loved it and I thought that it would be fun to do a little video where I talk about the style and whether it was accurate or not, so here we are. When I first heard about the movie, I thought that it was supposed to be about the Tate LaBianca murders. I didn't know that it was supposed to be a made-up story that just had some historic events going on in it, which I actually thought was really cool and a lot better than just watching a movie about the murders, because to be honest, I wasn't interested in that at all when I first heard about this, and I had misunderstood and thought that that's what the film was about. I originally didn't plan on seeing it because I don't really like scary things or things that are like upsetting like that. If I'm gonna watch a movie, I want it to be something that's a little more uplifting, since the world is already kind of like a heavy place, and I've already just like read about those murders enough to know that they were horrible and really screwed up, so I was not stoked on it at first. I actually really liked that it was about this character Richard Dalton that Leonardo DiCaprio played, who was like this old actor who was more popular in like the late 50s, early 60s, and then as the end of the 60s is coming, which the movie was set in, he was kind of losing popularity and was just kind of like questioning where his life and career were going. So I'm not going to try to talk too much about the film and give too many spoilers, but I'm just going to say if you haven't seen it and you don't want spoilers, just don't watch this because I'm not making any promises. Alright, so to get in with the fashion of the film, the costume designer was Adrienne Phillips, and I really think that she did a great job not only of capturing the 60s, late 60s especially, which can be kind of confusing for some people, essence, but she also did a great job of portraying each character in their costuming that they wore. I really like how she had the Richard Dalton character dressed more in earlier 60s clothes to really represent that was his prime time and that was like the fashion that was in then, and it kind of helped to show that his character was stuck in that kind of time when he was, you know, the big star that he was. She also did a really great job with Brad Pitt's character, Cliff Booth, the stuntman. I liked his more like laid back take on a 60s look. I think that Adrienne Phillips did a really great job capturing the late 60s fashion, especially. 60s fashion changed so much within that decade. If you look at early 60s fashion compared to mid 60s fashion and then late, it's very different, and I mean 10 years is a long time, so it makes sense. She really got more of like the laid back kind of, it's hard to describe, but there's really like this essence about like the late 60s, like 68, 69, after the Summer of Love had came in. It got a little more earthy as the 70s are coming in, still like mini skirts, 60s looking cute with like mod hints to it here and there, but it just got a little bit edgier. It wasn't super psychedelic anymore, and I think that she did a really good job of portraying that. I read that a lot of the costumes, well, most of them were handmade, but she also sourced a lot of vintage items to actually use in the costuming for the film. I think that they did a really great job with hair and makeup as well for Margot Robbie. Her hair looked fantastic, and it looked exactly like Sharon Tate's hair back in the late 60s. It wasn't like the typical like perfect bubblegum kind of swoop, which a lot of people I feel like can get stuck in that kind of an idea for a 60s hairstyle just because it's very stereotypical. But they actually did a wet set with like big rollers to get her hair to look like that, which is an authentic way of styling 60s hair, and that's how she achieved that very voluminous, bouncy, kind of like soft flipped out ends look. And as far as styling for Margot Robbie, Adrian Phillips really nailed a lot of Sharon Tate's most iconic looks, like her long snakeskin Aussie Clark jacket, which I absolutely need in my life. It's amazing. And then that little yellow two-piece that she's seen in at the Playboy Mansion party scene is perfect. Then looking at her boots, it just makes my heart sing. So good, and it also reminds me a lot of my black boots, so that just makes me happy. And not only did she get the late 60s fashion correct, the movie kind of jumps around in time at certain parts, like showing the flashbacks that Richard Dalton's having of his career in the past couple of years, like the hullabaloo scene, that's supposed to be set in like mid-60s, and they also nailed that with his outfits, like the skinny tie. I'm looking at pictures down here on my iPad in case you're wondering. And then this girls with like the longer skirts where they go up just about to the knee, because on TV then, you know, mini skirts were still pretty taboo, still kind of like a risky thing to do. And then the little like just above the ankle white go-go boots with the short heel is also very like mid-60s. I also just love some of like the details in the fashioning that she did, as far as like Richard Dalton sticking with that. There's this one outfit that he wears with these brown pants, and they have this kind of like crease up the center. Andrew has those exact same pants, I'm pretty sure. They're Wranglers, and so that makes sense for kind of like the cowboy early 60s kind of a look. And then I love that he is wearing like a gold pendant. It just is like a nice little touch. And then for Cliff's outfit, I really enjoy the denim on denim look, where he's got these jeans on and then a jean jacket, which is the exact same wash as the pants. I think that that's iconic, and we love a Canadian tuxedo, so I'm here for that. Plus, I mentioned before that I don't really love aviators, but he's wearing these aviators that are brown lenses, and I really like that look a lot more. I feel like it doesn't come off quite as I'm a cop kind of a vibe, if you get what I'm saying. Like, aviators always just remind me of policemen, except for in this case. And can we also talk about his like moccasin shoes, little boot things? Okay, now we're gonna jump back into more of the Margot Robbie outfits. Sorry if this is kind of all over the place. I hope you're following. I really did like the little outfit that she wore when she was going to the movie to see herself be in the movie. And I also really did like, as a side note, not on the fashion part, but I liked that they used actual film footage with Sharon Tate in it for that movie scene, and it's just kind of like a nice little tribute to Sharon, I think. So anyways, for this scene, I also really love this outfit. It is an iconic look of Sharon's. I'm very sure that I've seen her in this exact same outfit, and it's just like a classic black turtleneck with a white little skirt and those white low-heeled go-go boots. I also really like that the shirt is untucked, because I feel like a lot of times we just get caught up in like 60s is like high-waisted, like tuck in this, blah blah blah, but an untucked shirt is also a very cool look, and it's a nice way to keep that more of like boxy 60s silhouette that they had, kind of reminiscent of the 20s. I couldn't find a lot of stills from the Roman Polanski character, which is upsetting because his outfits were also very great, but I did find this one of Roman and Sharon going through the airport, and she just got on this big coat, some knee-high boots. The coat's perfect. I don't know what more you want me to say about that. It's just like amazing. And then the little bag with like the tapestry side paneling is beautiful, wonderful, love it. And then Roman's outfit in this, he's just got like a black leather jacket, it looks like, on. And I love that it's not like your typical like biker leather jacket. It looks more like a, and it may not be leather, it might just be like a shiny kind of material, but anyways, it's more of like a business like blazer kind of a style, and it looks like it's got like velvet up here on the lapels and around the back. And then he's also got on a long necklace with a big gold pendant on it. He's got on the vertical striped pants, which are such a 60s staple, and really just like such a good look for any guy who's trying to dress 60s or 70s. Look out for striped pants. Look in the women's section. Nobody's really gonna know. Also, to continue with the Roman style, I tried so hard to find a still from this scene. When they're going to the Playboy Mansion party, they get in the car, and I also love that scene, side note, because you're like sitting behind Roman and Sharon in the car as they're driving through the hills of Hollywood, and it's exactly like driving through the hills of Hollywood. Every single time I go to LA, and Stardust actually lives kind of like out that way, so we always drive through those hills, and it is wild. Like, the Uber drivers out there, just LA drivers in general, are so used to it. It gets a little crazy, and sitting in the back with somebody who gets very carsick, it's one of my least favorite things about coming to LA, to be honest, but that drive just kind of cracked me up. I looked over at Andrew and I was like, wow, this is exactly like driving through LA. That was perfect, and I'm glad he included that, because that's such like an LA thing for people who have been out there and driven through it. Maybe that's just something that I've noticed, but anyways, I loved that part. Back to the fashion in that scene. Roman is wearing a dark blue velvet suit, and it's got like the ruffles around the collar, ruffles around the sleeves, and it is perfect. It's very Austin Powers looking, but less costumey. It looks very like what somebody would wear and what somebody would pay a lot of money for in the 60s. It didn't look like costumey at all. I thought it just looked like a very well-dressed, dandy, kind of peacocky guy in the late 60s, what they would wear. So I love that. I'm very sad that I couldn't find a good shot of him, but I did find the shot from the party, and he's kind of in the background of it, so I'll just try to make the best out of that image. Otherwise, if you haven't seen the movie, just go see that and pay close attention. A lot of the scenes of Roman were in the car with Sharon, so you couldn't see a lot of his outfits, I felt like, but he did a lot of like striped suits, striped pants, which was very accurate for the time. Just some nice classic like gold framed sunglasses, which was perfect. I love this one scene. I think it's like one of the opening scenes of them, as Richard Dalton's like standing outside in his driveway with Cliff, and then they pull up and then just go into the gate immediately, but you see like their side profile, and Sharon's got like a thick scarf tied around her head, hippie style. Sharon did that a lot. It's very cute. And then she's just got on these big oval statement earrings, which very 60s, very simple yet groovy looking, if you get my drift. And now the scene when Margot Robbie, Sharon Tate, is dancing around her house. She put on a record. She's just wearing like jean shorts and a striped t-shirt. And when this movie was getting made and a couple stills came out, I saw some people were kind of upset about this outfit and were like, oh, nobody can get 60s fashion right, it just looks like 90s BS. I don't know, people weren't happy about it, and here's the thing, people still wore jean shorts and t-shirts in the 60s. That's like, it's kind of like just something that a lot of decades have worn, like ever since it came out. Like, I don't know, when did t-shirts and jeans become fashion, like 50s? But every generation has worn that. It's just like a basic thing to wear. And the shorts that she's wearing looks like it was like a DIY kind of a thing that she did. Like, they were full-length jeans at one point and she had cut them off because they're uneven. She's just chilling around the house that day, so she doesn't need to like be dressed up or anything. The t-shirt is classic. I don't know what, there's nothing bad to say about that. Stripes are very 60s. It was a popular kind of a print then, and then the color scheme is also very 60s, like color blocking, kind of like greens, orangey, reddish, and a mustardy yellow. So to me, that's a good casual 60s outfit. I don't have anything bad to say about that. And then as far as the outfits when she was supposed to be pregnant, I thought the outfits were also very true to Sharon's maternity style, which was still pretty much just like her regular old style, very girly, very Lightweight, flowy, easy, but also very fashionable at the same time. I want to go back to Richard Dalton at the end more so, after he has gone to Spain and he's getting his career kind of back up and running, even though it's not necessarily what he had envisioned or planned. He's making the most of it and still out there doing work. So he comes back from Spain, he's got a wife, he's changed his style at this point, which I think says a lot about his character too. He's like ditched the old greaser style, so he's kind of like leaving behind the old ideas of what he thought he should be doing at this time in his life, where he thought his career would go, and he's just kind of like embracing where he is and where he's been brought at this point in his life. So he's kind of got more of like the late 60s groovy style going on. He's got a full black ensemble with some cool big sunglasses. He's grown out his hair and he's got one of those side parts going instead of having it slicked back. I love the O-ring on this jacket that he has for the zipper. Amazing. Some huge lapels I'm seeing there. Great dagger collar moments. And then the little scarf that he's got tied around his neck is a nice pop of color. And then his wife, who I forgot her name in the film, but she has got an amazing outfit on as they are leaving the airport. It's this full body red crochet jumpsuit, and it's got like this high neckline. I want to know how she gets in this. Like, was there a zipper up the back or what? Because I'm very confused. But it's like a high neckline. It's got like little poofy sleeves where it's tighter here and then just poofs like a little bit, and it's like cinched in at the waist with a tie that you can have, and then at the bottom it just kind of flares out ever so slightly. And then she's got some nice gold block heel sandals on, some earrings with a little drop circle hoop at the end, and she looks great. I love these outfits. I think they look amazing together. Even the people in the airport behind them, as I'm looking at this photo, their outfits are spot on. Like the long dress with the long boots, the kind of hippie-ish looking guy in the very far back next to a security. He's got on like some kind of patterned pants that are cropped a little bit above his ankle, and it looks like he's got some sandals on. Amazing. Also, Richard Dalton's wife that he brought home from Spain, his co-star from his film over there, her makeup is very iconic, and it reminds me a lot of like Sophia Loren, kind of like that thick, very dark, smoky eye, also very Brigitte Bardot kind of vibe. I also really liked the other like celebrity kind of crossovers that just show the kind of like worlds that they're in. The little scene with Mama Cass and Michelle Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, they were in the Playboy Mansion scene, and their outfits were fantastic. It looks exactly like something the two of them would have wore back then, and it's very like bright colors, kind of like psychedelic pop. Michelle's got on this dress that has a high neckline, so 60s, with like a little cutout right here, and then it's got these buttons down the front, which are fantastic. And then the Mama Cass character, I am in love with this outfit so much. It's like a peacock feather kind of a pattern, but the peacock feathers are like pink and yellow and green and like slight blue mixed in with it. It's fantastic. Her boots are this like kind of burnt orangey brown suede. Love that. And then she's also got on this feather boa that is like these thin little feathers, which I just think looks so fantastic. I think the last people that we have to talk about really would be the Manson family. I think that they really did a good job of interpreting this group of people, as well as it was so different from the other characters in this film. The first scene when they all came together and they were like walking across the road and singing that song together, it just gave me chills, and I immediately knew that that's who those girls were supposed to be. It had no question in my mind. They had the like true hippie look. Like a lot of people, I think when you think hippies, it gets to be kind of Halloween costumey, where it's like huge flares, like circle glasses, fringe vests, piece man, middle parts, like some kind of a headband, tie-dyes, that kind of a thing. Adrian Phillips did a fantastic job with capturing that true, like, off the grid, leaving the rest of society, living in a commune kind of a look, which is very scruffy, kind of worn in, dirty, because they don't have the same things that everybody else living in society has, like washers and dryers typically, and probably like a good shower. Their hair also looked to be kind of like stringy, and it was just kind of very ominous too, them all standing around with this kind of like torn up, ripped, dirty look. It really added to like the culty kind of creepy vibes that they had, and it was just like a true hippie look, because sure, there was like the hippie fashion with like all the bright colors, and like more musicians and famous people of the time kind of wore that kind of a hippie look, and that's because they maybe were hippie-ish in a certain sense, but they weren't like actual hippies like living in a commune or that kind of a thing. So they had money to spend on these like super fancy psychedelic looking clothes, and a way to keep them clean and nice, and had many outfits to choose from, so they weren't wearing like the same maybe 5 outfits every single day or something like that. So I think that she did a great job of capturing the true hippie essence. So overall, I really loved the whole film. I loved the fashion. As you can tell, I didn't really have a bad thing to say about it. I thought that I was going to be able to pull like a hot mode and to do a little fashion roast, but as I was looking at the pictures, I was like, you know, this is fantastic and I really love it all. And I was reading about Adrian Phillips, the costume designer, and it seems like she did a lot of research for this film, and she just really knew what she was doing, and it shows for sure. Also, the set design is amazing, like taking LA and taking it back in time to the late 60s. It looked amazing. I love that they actually repainted the Age of Aquarius mural, and I hope that that just stays there forever, because it is iconic and it should just be a part of LA. I feel like part of history. It's amazing. Overall, I did like it. I thought that it was good. I liked the concept. I love how it ended, and how well, should I say, should I not say? I'll just leave it at that. I love how it ended. I thought that it was a cool twist on it, a cool positive twist, and I really wish that it would have happened like that in real life. Things would have been a lot better. Justice would have been truly served that day. But you guys, if you haven't seen this film, highly recommend. I loved it, and the music was also fantastic in it, obviously. It was beautiful overall. I will probably see it again if I get the chance to. So with that being said, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I hope you're having a fantastic day, whatever you're doing, and I will catch you in the next one.